Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Keisha, and today I'm going to be organizing my bookshelves. So today is going to be a hopefully pretty chill video. I have never done a bookshelf organization video before, nor have I ever thought that I would do one. But here we are. I was going to reorganize my shelves and then do a bookshelf tour video. And I think I'm going to do both. So we're going to see how it goes. If you're seeing this, I think that means it probably went decently well. But this is my first time attempting this. So I have 2 bookshelves and a TBR cart. So these are my main bookshelves. My dad actually built this bookcase for me, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. He paid a lot of attention to detail in it, and it's very gorgeous. My other bookshelf, I will show you guys in just a minute, and my father-in-law built that one, and it is just as beautiful, and I'm so thankful to have 2 crafty dads. And then also I have a TBR cart, which I will also show you in just a little bit, and my TBR cart is actually not really serving as a TBR cart right now. So the reason that I have decided to reorganize my bookshelves is because right now, the way that they are, it's not that it's not working, but it could be functioning better, I guess. So I have decided that I'm gonna get cozy, which is why I'm dressed down today. I haven't fixed my hair, it's fine. But I just wanted this to be a really chill video. This is how I would be doing it otherwise, so this is how I'm gonna do it with you guys. First, let's talk about my shelves. These shelves are basically just where I started to store my books, and when I ran out of room, I started to overlap onto my TBR cart and onto the other shelves. So these shelves don't really serve a specific purpose. It's not like these are all the same type of book or anything. So I don't know how much you guys can see in the video because I can't remember the way I angled this. But on the very top of my bookshelves, I have all of my Owlcrate boxes from my Owlcrate subscription. I just keep little trinkets and things in there. And then on the top shelf here, I have mine and my husband's Christian nonfiction collection. I've read some of these. I haven't read others, but I decided that this shelf is going to stay the same. And these things that are on the shelf are going to stay the same. Unfortunately, my Coraline Funko Pop has seen better days. I accidentally knocked her over and her foot fell off. So that made me a little sad. But it's going to be okay. I'm going to get some super glue and we'll fix her. But this shelf is going to stay the same. And then these 3 shelves are basically my fiction shelves. And so I tried to do a little bit of organization. They're a little bit messy right now. I kind of have things just thrown everywhere. But these were mostly like my paperbacks and my romance, historical fiction, kind of a mixed match of all that stuff. And then this shelf was supposed to be primarily my fantasy books. And then the shelf down below, which I'm not sure if you guys can see or not, but it was supposed to be my middle grade shelf. And then the shelf on the very bottom is just full of Bibles and other nonfiction books that belong to both myself and my husband. And so that is basically the setup of these shelves. I'll go ahead and do a pan of my TBR cart right now, which will be pretty quick. But my TBR cart basically just has other books that I couldn't fit on my shelves. There's no rhyme or reason to this. At the bottom, I do have a few picture books that I have acquired for my future children. However, there's no other organization to this. I do also have my favorite children's series displayed on my desk. And now I'll go ahead and show you a pan of what my bookshelves in the other room currently look like. So right now they're still decorated for Christmas. I have not quite gotten around to taking down all of my Christmas decor. I'm just not quite ready to not have a seasonally themed decor. I could do winter, but I don't really have much on that end. So this is still up, but it will be coming down today. These shelves right now were basically decorated for Christmas. So they have Christmas themed books or books with Christmassy colors. So I went with red, white, blue, green, and those kind of colors. There are a couple of silvers and golds interspersed as well. So that is my current situation with my shelves, and now I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what I plan to do with them. So in order to function better in the way that I feel like I need them to function, the way I'm going to organize my shelves is that I'm going to put all of the books that I have not read on these 3 shelves. I'm not going to touch the bottom shelf and I'm not going to touch the top shelf, but I am going to work on these 3 shelves, and I'm going to work on moving all the books that I have read off of here and all the books that I have not read onto it. And then I think I'm going to organize by genre because I feel like I'm more inclined to go towards a book depending on what genre I feel like reading. So I think that's how I'm going to organize it. I am, however, a little bit leery because I have shorter books and then taller books. And so, for example, I have a couple of historical fiction books here, but then I also have a couple of historical fiction books here, and they're shorter, and so I'm gonna have to figure out how that goes, because I like at least some of my books to be a little bit like of the same height and then drop down or something like that, but we'll figure that out. So that is my plan with this one so far. And then with my other shelves, what I'm planning on doing is putting all of the books that I have read on those shelves. So right now would be a great time to go ahead and tell you guys I have 240 books in my collection. That is not including books on the bottom shelf and books on the top shelf. The reason that I did it this way is because I haven't read a lot of books on the top shelf in quite some time, and this year I hope to read more of them, but I don't want to put that additional pressure on myself by adding those to the list that I'm trying to narrow down. So these are more or less like on my TBR, but not actually on my TBR, because I don't want to give myself that pressure. The books on the bottom, like I said before, you'll see those in a little bit, but they are mostly Bibles, and a lot of my husband's books are books that we had from college. But since I do have so many books in my collection, 240 total, 162 of which I have not read, and 76 of which I have read. So since I have questionably a little bit more room on these shelves, I'm going to go ahead and put the books that I need to read in here, and the books that I have already read in my living room. That way I can display those, and whenever we have company over, they can kind of see what I've read, what I like, and things like that. As far as my TBR cart goes, I plan on actually trying to use that as a TBR cart. I will probably still leave picture books and things like that on the bottom shelf, and I might decorate the top shelf of it, and then that middle shelf, what I plan on doing is using that as my monthly TBR. So I will pull all the books that I plan on or hope to read for that month and put those on there. So I think I have covered everything that I wanted to cover to start out. So that is my plan, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so really quickly, I wanted to say something. I have decided to mix match some of these books a little bit. So, for example, there's not going to be exactly 162 books that I have not read on these shelves and 76 books on the other shelf that I have read. Because, for example, this is Rick Riordan's Heroes of Olympus series, and I have read the first book in this series. However, if I do reread the series, I'm going to want to read all of them from the beginning because I never continued. So instead of putting The Lost Hero in with the books that I have read, I'm going to go ahead and leave it with the books that I have not. I have kind of a similar situation with Lois Lowry's The Giver series. So I have read The Giver, Gathering Blue, and Messenger, but I've never read Sun. But I'm not sure if I ever will read Sun unless I do a whole reread of the series. I do really enjoy that series, and I do really enjoy the book. The first one's obviously probably my favorite. I do remember enjoying Gathering Blue also, but I'm not quite sure if I take Sun out of here, this is a box set, and put it in with these books that I have not read on my TBR. I just don't know if I'm going to pick it up. So I'd rather keep it in the box and with the set and take it all to one space. So I do have some books that I'm going to be separating. For example, up there, which I think you can't see it at this point because I've moved it up, but I did take out Scythe and Thunderhead because I read both of those and left the total on this shelf because I do plan to get to that this year. But now that I have gathered all of the books from here, let's go ahead and move to the next section, which would be my TBR cart, and we will go ahead and take off the books that I have read from there, and then I'm going to go ahead and move all of those to the next room. Okay, I think I've moved everything to the consecutive room that it goes to. My dog is wild. I don't know if you saw her in any of those clips, but she definitely wants me to play, which is very typical for when I try to film, but that's okay. So I think I've moved everything, and if I missed anything, I'll just move it later. Just realized I just moved the books that I have read in the other room and left the books that I haven't read. And okay, I'll be right back. Okay, that's better. So now I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and move all of these books back to the next room, and then I'm going to try to dust off the shelves. Since these are already empty, I'm going to go ahead and dust these off before I move the rest of these. Jovi's walking over. I have a mess on the couch. I've been journaling, and she's walking all over everything. I'm pretty sure she's about to squeak a toy. I wish you guys could see her. If I turn it around, she'll stop. Let me see. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and dust these shelves off, move the books to the other room. Then I'm going to take off the books from the 3 shelves that I'm going to redo and dust those off. And then we're gonna work on trying to sort these into different genres. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna do for now. I don't love it, but I don't have bookends and I don't have a lot of stuff to kind of help prop up books, and I don't have a lot of decor. So as I get more things, this will probably evolve, and after I sit and stare at it for a while, I'll probably see something different to do with it. But for right now, what I have done is I have put all the books that I have read on here, and the top shelf is kind of miscellaneous. I've got some historical fiction, some classics, romance, contemporary, history, fantasy, a little bit of everything, but these are just more like general books to me. As far as the content, like I just always kind of pair these books together on my shelves. I don't really know why. There is no rhyme or reason. It's just the way that I like them. Then the next shelf is my middle grade shelf, and since I love middle grade, I wanted middle grade to be kind of the center of attention. So I have my Puff and Chalk editions on each end, and this really beautiful edition of Charlotte's Web in the middle, and then I have got my collection behind there. Then on the bottom shelf, I have my fantasy books, and with all of these, I have got candles, or these are snowflakes that I didn't want them to take up a lot of room, so I didn't move them out much. So yeah, that's what's kind of going on for right now. I'll do a quick pan over these, and then we will move on to the other shelves. Okay, y'all, so the lighting might have changed just a little bit, and that's because it is now dark and I no longer have the light from the window. I took a little bit of a break, for 3 reasons. One, mostly because my camera was dying, or my phone was dying, and I knew that I didn't have much time left before it did die, and so I've charged it a little bit, and hopefully it'll be enough to make it through the rest of the video. 2, I was really hungry. I didn't realize how hungry I was until I stopped, so I went ahead and ate dinner. And then lastly, because I don't know if you can see, there's like a couple small stacks and then these right here of middle grade books that do not fit on my middle grade shelf, and I've got to reorganize that. But I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start trying to do like my fantasy shelf and then everything else on top, and then kind of see where it goes from there. So we're going to pick up there, and then I'm going to pick out all the books on my TBR for January and put those on my TBR cart. So let's go ahead and finish up this very long afternoon of reorganization. So I'm starting to realize that all of these books, like I still have 2 big stacks on the floor, and then I've got all of this, and I'm beginning to realize that all of this is not going to fit on these 3 shelves. So now I have to rethink how I'm going to do this. I am not going to move anything else. Like, these are just these shelves. Like, there's nothing that I can get rid of on the bottom. I've weighted things throughout last year, and everything that's there is going to stay. Now, I may eventually get rid of some of these, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet because I would like to give them a chance first. So I'm thinking partially what I'm going to do is I do have a stack of Owl Crate exclusive editions of books, and I may just put those on my TBR cart. And I have another stack, and then these, I'm not really sure. I may try to stack things. I really don't like stacking things. I don't like it when it's super cluttered. But yeah, I'm just going to have to mess around with it a little bit longer and see if I can figure this out. Okay, I think I've got these shelves organized about as good as it's going to get for now. I'm not necessarily happy with it, but this is the life of having 240 books. So this shelf, I'm happy with the way that it turned out. This shelf, I have some like basic contemporary, and then it goes into romance, and some of these might be a little bit out of order, but that's fine. And then mystery, and then some mystery thrillers, and then historical fiction. So I like the way that one is. And then this next shelf down here, I've got all of my fantasy novels that are not middle grade, which in all honesty, I'm not like super thrilled with how that one turned out, because I was fine with the stacks. After I stacked them, I was like, okay, that's fine. But then I had to lay these Miss Peregrine books on top because I just didn't have anywhere else to put them, and I don't like it. So it's probably going to change. But for now, it's going to have to do because I'm really tired of organizing today. So my middle grade shelf, I am not also very pleased with, but it'll have to do for now too. Like I said, I really don't like stacks. I don't like that this looks bigger than this, and it just really bothers me. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. I did the best I could with having so many books. So next, what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull off the books that I plan to read in the month of January. And it's probably going to be a few, just because I'm not exactly sure everything that I'm going to read, and everything that I pull. Like, I know I'm going to read a couple of things that I don't own, and so you won't see those. But this is going to be basically like a little bit of a, as Brie from Call Me After Coffee would call it, a possibility pile. And so I will possibly read some of these books. I will read some of these books. So I think now, yeah, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pull some books from my possibility pile and add those to my TBR cart, decorate it, and then we're going to call it quits, I think. So let's do it. So I decided to go ahead and go over my January TBR with you guys, or my possibility pile, because I know I won't read all of these. There are 2 books that I don't currently own, or that they are coming in later. One is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane that I'll be reading with my middle grade book club at the library that I run. And then the other one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which I will get from my library. And then the next one hasn't come out yet, but it is the next installment of Shauna McGuire's Wayward Children series. It is called Across the Green Grass Fields, and I will be getting that hopefully on its release date because I had it pre-ordered. So, well, actually, Will had it pre-ordered for me for Christmas. So, thank you, hubby. And so anyways, what I plan on reading this month, this was a Christmas present from my husband. Also, Odd and the Frost Giants by Neil Gaiman. This just looks like a really cute wintry read. I really like the cover. It's very intriguing. Chris Riddell it has narrated a lot of Gaiman's books. And look at Toby. What you doing? Just, Mommy, you're wearing me out. Anyways, Chris Riddell has illustrated a lot of Neil Gaiman's work, and I think he's probably one of my favorite illustrators. Oh no, I was worried that that was going to happen. Anyways, so these might fall, but that's one of the books that I might read this month. And then we have Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. I really liked The Wicked Deep by this author, so I'm really excited to read this one. Next up is Dead Voices by Catherine Arden. I read Small Spaces back in October and I really enjoyed it. It spooked me, and I hope this one does the same. Then we have Five Total Strangers by Natalie G. Richards. This kind of gave me No Exit vibes, and so that's why I picked this one up. Then we have Last Christmas in Paris by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. This is a historical fiction novel set in World War I that I'd planned to read in December, but I didn't get around to. And let Mama clean your eyes. Bless it. Anybody else like that? Like if your dogs are like black or dark-skinned, dark-furred, their eye boogers and like eye crusties and stuff just get everywhere. It's so noticeable. She's so cute. I have to wipe those out. So anyways, I really would like to read this. It's written in letters. I'm feeling like historical fiction and romance, so I thought this would be a good one. And I feel like it's maybe not too much set in Christmas. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm hoping it's not too Christmassy because I'd still like to read that one. And then lastly, I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I thought this cover was absolutely gorgeous, so that's why I picked this one of all the ones that I've seen anyways. And this book now has a Netflix adaptation. And so I really wanted to watch that, but I wanted to read this first. It's supposed to be like a modern classic, I believe, and I don't typically like classics, but this one sounds really interesting. So hopefully I can get to that one too. So all of these books that are now slanted that I will fix in a minute have kind of a wintry feel, or they're books that I want to read for book club or something. Most of these actually have wintry feel. This one, Frost Giants, Winterwood, Dead Voices is set in winter, Christmas. This one I tried to read in November and I just didn't get around to it. And this one's for book club. So yeah, a lot of these have those vibes. But I think we are going to be done filming for today. I have had a very long afternoon. Jovi has had a very long afternoon. Right, Jovi? Right? So I think we are going to call it quits. I am not 100% satisfied with my shelves. I mean, obviously, I told you guys when I was showing you things that I liked, things that I didn't like. And so we'll just see over time how that kind of pans out. And hopefully I will read more books this year. And so as I move books over, I'd like to think it would get less crowded over here, but I'm already thinking about books that I want to buy. So that probably won't happen. But anyways, that is going to be all for my bookshelf organization video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like to see more videos from me, you can hit subscribe and then hit the bell if you'd like to get notifications for any future videos that I post. The next video that will hopefully go up will be my bookshelf tour. So that will be a little bit more in detail, or actually not much more in detail, but I will go through each book individually. I won't explain all of them because I know that would take far too long, but I will go through each book and tell you the title and the author individually. I love videos like that, and so I hope that you guys do too, because that is what I hopefully will plan on rolling out next on my channel. But I'm going to, once again, like I said, call it quits for the day, right, Jovi? So we will hopefully, maybe not Jovi, just depends on how she's feeling that day. But I at least will see you in my next video. Bye!